Hodgepodge. We've been doing a ferocious amount of wargaming here in the House of Wargaming lately. What can I say? Everything's been set up nice to do that. I'm taking advantage while I can. I don't often do this kind of video these days, but I thought it might be nice to show you guys how easy the Age of Sail wargaming is. In addition to the kind of the projects that I've been working on and what you can expect on the channel coming up, this is my one box. It's a 9-liter, pretty useful box. It's pretty useful, very useful. Everything I need for my Age of Sail fits in here, thanks to the decision to go with 1/2400 ships from Tumbling Dice. So you've seen this a couple of times. You're going to see it again before too long. I went ahead and thrown. I was recently using this. Normally the rule book goes on the shelf, but for now I figured, hey, we'll throw it in there. I did whip up and laminate one of the cheat sheets. This has been a godsend. It's so much more useful to use this. The one thing I wish the official Osprey books were better at, and they get this all the time, their cheat sheets are terrible. It doesn't even have any of the information for boarding actions, which is fairly complicated. Bit of an oversight. I could probably take the time to whip that up, but Lord knows there aren't enough hours in the day. Hey, look at this. Look at this. I probably should just surprise you with this. This is a square of fabric I picked up at a big box store, and it's got all kinds of like nautical stuff on it. I thought, man, that's kind of fun. Why wouldn't I get that? I might wind up using that as my battle mat for fighting sail one of these days. Spoiler alert. I don't know if it'd be better or worse for the ships, but if I'm ever doing like a fantasy version, I thought that would be great. The trick to this is that I do have some extra space. I'm hoping I got room for. I do have a couple of 15mm warships on order. Well, that's not true. I have one Zebek, and I have one of the, what do you call it, the Privateer on order from Old Glory. The guy that was doing the resin ships, he's the Lord heard our prayers. He's doing a lot better these days. He is producing the resin ships again, so thank God for that. Thank God he's doing better, not necessarily for our sake, right? And then I've got two of these nice little boxes that squeezes everything in that you might need. Of course, you've already seen these in action. A couple of small little islands. They measure about 2 inches by 3 inches, and it's amazing how much they add to the game. I just chuck all of my Litco markers in here, reloading. You know, it's not that hard to remember who fired and where they fired off of. I'm not sure why you need this, to be honest with you. Everybody only gets one shot. The other thing is it comes with these broadsides. So, you know, and you can even glue these together if you're using larger scale ships. So it looks like smoke, but I never use them because I just remember. And then you've seen all that before. And as you can see, I do have all of my ships in here. Oh, well, what happened here? I think I already showed you this guy. For the Black Fleet, I have a... What do you call this guy? He's more of a merchant caravan, but he is classed as a... he's an Indiaman, 54 gunner, so he works as kind of a... oh, we have some sail issues. We'll go ahead and make a discipline check, see if we can effect repairs to our damaged ship. This is the kind of super glue I use. It's just the cheap Duro stuff. I get it for $1 a tube at the drugstore. And then, you know, now that this is off, I could probably take the time to burnish up this sail a little bit. But who's got the time? So drop him on there. Give him a couple of seconds to set, and we will be off to the races. There we go. And just like that, see if we rolled any 6s. Oh, I'm stuck. There we go, okay. All right, as you can see, if you look at this guy real close, you can see where I'm already losing some paint off of it. Maybe not the best storage solution. Particularly, oh geez. It's at an angle now too. Let's see if we can straighten her out. There we go. Guess I failed my check that turn. New check. There we go. So there's your East Indiaman, looking good for the Red and Black Fleet. And notice I still have plenty of room. If I wanted to add a few more ships of the line here, I've got the space for it. I do have one of the other scenarios calls for attacking a port. You got bomb rafts, fire ships. We're going to be getting to that in the future as well. Enough of the Age of Sail. Let me put this back, and I'm going to show you some of the Napoleonic stuff. Well, let's go ahead and start with the storage that I use. Some of you guys have been around for a while. You know that I prefer the Plano. This is the smallest of the Plano tackle boxes that you can find. When you open up this, it's got 4 cases, 4 drawers, if you will. Now, this is my modern collection, and as you can see, I got a lot more room. This is just the red hats. I could condense those down into half. It'd be great to get some more, like, Taliban freedom fighters, maybe some American oppressor troops, that kind of thing to move on. I'd love to get my hands on a hard copy of Force on Force. But the modern day, plenty of space there. But that's not Napoleonics. Unfortunately, all of my boxes are the same color, so sometimes it gets hard to tell. Now, with the Napoleonics, I found a better way. I took this case, this very case, down to the hardware store because I wanted to see if there's a way to squeeze more cavalry in there. These little drawers are just a little bit too small for cavalry. That's a bit of a problem. But you've got this nice case up top. This is the perfect size. And before I had a single case, I could only fit a total of 14 horsey boys. By laying them on their side and squeezing these 2 cases in, check it out, right? So I've got my 7. I still have room for 5 more cavalry, and if I want to try to squeeze 1 more into each of these, I may be able to fit a total of 18 cavalry, which would be awesome. And the big thing I wanted to show you is I've started adding flags to my boys. Now, again, my Napoleonics is a bit fluid. I'm new and I'm not too fussy about it. So I like to leave things, and again, these guys will wind up being for Dextromania and Sinistrea, my imagination. So I like to leave the flags as vague as possible. The other issue is I'm using these guys, as I'll show you here in a second. My British are really more 7 Years' War, American War of Independence in style, and my French are more French Wars of the Revolution in style. So it's a little hard. I mean, even in just that like 25 years, the flags change so much. What are you going to have, a fleur-de-lis? You're going to have the royal flag for the French, or are you going to have the French flag of independence? I'm going to have blue. My flags are blue. But so there's my red flag for the standard bearer there. And we'll talk a little bit about rules here in a little bit too, as I explain to you how we're going to do it. And then there's another little British flag. It's got the little pumpkin head. It's supposed to be a crown, but, you know, the hand-painted, especially when you zoom right in on it. Especially when you zoom right in on it. It does kind of look more like a pumpkin head. But, hey, good-looking figures, right? These are, I want to say they're AB figures. They're a little on the tall side. Cranky-looking officer there. And then, likewise, I'll show you the blue. So I will be expanding this collection a little bit more. The rules that I'm using are Chosen Men. And Chosen Men uses unit sizes in increments of 5. You buy the guys 5 to 10 at a time. Yeah, there's my kind of vague fleur-de-lis, hand-painted. Maybe not great up close. All right, fine. We'll just put it on the table and only look at it that far away, so you get the impression. Otherwise, not a bad figure. 15 millimeter, again, AB, and I'll try to... He's more of a chasseur, but if he has to pretend to be a hussar or dragoon, so be it. And there you go. So we've already got the 7 I do have here. Let me show you one of the guys that's on the paint table. Like I said, one of my bicorn bros. I think this tubby feller here is the French. Yeah, you can kind of tell from the jacket. And then I have a British bicorn. Again, he's, I don't know, he's more Napoleonic, I guess. Yet to be painted. Man, what a good-looking figure, huh? And then the basing, just for those of you that aren't aware, I just glue sand. I'm done. 1-inch bases for all my boys. Yeah, I had to write a B because I wanted to make sure that I got it right. And if we take a look at the guys, well, that one's empty. So look, here's all the room I got, right? And I should point out, this is not my Napoleonic box. This is all of my black powder figures all together. So if we open this up, I even have a drawer that is just for musketeers. Whenever I'm feeling pulpy, whenever I want to do a kind of black pimpernel. Is the pimpernel I don't even know. Is the pimpernel the face mask? Is it the jacket or is it the hat? I don't know. So there's your kind of more early 1700s. I got a couple of them on. I haven't painted up any of the horses for these guys yet, but as the mood strikes me, the pirates will go in here. I've got those ones in order. We'll get there. And then here we go, finally into the Napoleonics. This is going to be as you can see, blue coats, red coats. And I've showed you these figures before, the Chosen Men units that we're doing. And if I squeeze these guys down, I know some of you guys are like, oh, dear God. Oh, what? Oh, my Lord. The paint jobs. The paint jobs. I know. But it's fine. I use a heavy... Well, there, I can show you. I use I brush on a heavy coat of this. It says matte varnish. It is a little bit shiny, so after this, I seal it up with a spray matte varnish. Right now, I've got 2 cannons, and I've got 1 blue coat cannon squad, and I've got 1 gray coat. These guys kind of do double duty. They're either, fancy lads for the French or for the British. They're really more dressed for American War of Independence cannoneers. It's fine. And I guess I could probably even use those on the 3 Musketeers if I wanted to. And then we have, now this is important here. This is the Wars of the French Revolution. So this drawer has my Vendéan farmers. And then it has pigs, cows, and what do you call these things? Carts, donkeys. That's important. And I'll show you why as soon as I clean this mess up. But while I pack up, I'll just show you this one more time. We started with it. This guy's empty. We could fit another. I play fast and loose with the numbers for Chosen Men. As you can see, right now I've got 7 chasseurs. They're actually cuirassiers. Going to have a leader in there, and then I'm going to get 4 more, which means I will be able to field a full troop of 10. Awesome. I may wind up fielding them all at the same time and swapping out. Likewise with the British, or maybe we have 2 units of 5. That's going to be up to the players to determine. But if you take a look at this, this is a unit of 10 line infantry. This is a unit of 11. So I can squeeze another, and there's still room in there, right? So I can probably squeeze another 40 figures in here. That's why I love this system. And then look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got room for like another 100 figures in there. So I can't wait to fill this up. But I already have some done. We'll take a look at the figures that are going to make making an appearance. But I want to show you what I'm going to wind up doing with them. And that's what this is for right here. Let's look a little closer at this map, all right? It's pencil drawn. And we'll darken it up so you can see those. This is 5 villages. And what you see, these straight lines are roads, and they're straight lines because my roads are straight lines. The little houses here show how many resource points each of these are worth. The wiggly line is streams, and you can see there are bridges in a couple of places, and there are fords. This stream is only crossable at the fords and the bridge. This little stream and this little stream can be crossed for free at the ford here at the road and the ford here and this bridge. Or you can cross anywhere, but it's going to slow you way down, particularly if you have loot, because the idea here is, well, let's take a look at the scale. Every one of these squares is actually 6 inches of table space. This can be thought of as one giant table, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 feet across, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 feet. So it's 15 by 11. That's a really big table, but I'm only going to be able to field about a square about 5 by 6 across. What I'm going to do is set up a scenario where the French are sending small raiding parties in here to capture as much loot as they can and get it off the northern table edge. The British forces are going to be tasked with stopping them, and every time they hit one of these locations, they're going to be able to pull up one of these loot counters. Of course, cavalry will move fast. You'll move faster along the roads. But once you have a loot counter that's going to slow you way down, the donkeys and the carts are going to move at a much slower pace. So you're not just going to have to worry about fighting off the enemy as the French. You're going to have to worry about keeping them off long enough to get your victory points off the board. That presents a lot of interesting challenges and a lot of interesting possibilities for the fog of war. The British player, and there's a few things I haven't worked out yet. I need to drop a bunch of woods down here, and I need to work out how and hills, of course, and how line of sight is going to work. And then what I will do is I'm going to recruit a couple of players. Some friends of mine are going to serve as the generals who are off board, and they are essentially going to receive an order of battle, and they're going to be tasked with developing a plan for their sub-commander to implement. So I like to think of this as a semi-solo war game because I will be handling all of the unit movements on this map and on the board when we do finally drill down to the tabletop. But they'll be developing the overall general plan, and there may be some possibility for requesting orders. What's going to happen here is that we'll figure out how far each unit can move. So, for example, in Chosen Men, foot troops can move 6 inches per turn. And now Chosen Men is fairly vague. It doesn't list what the time scale is, but if we assume that they can move that 6 inches in, let's assume that each battle is 6 turns and lasts about an hour. That seems pretty reasonable. Then what you're looking at is 10 minutes of travel time over each one of these squares across the wilderness. Of course, cavalry can move twice as fast, but the point being that it'll take a full day to get across. Well, it'll take at least a half a day to get across this board. Longer if you're taking an indirect route, and longer if you have to fight your way along. So we'll be able to break it down into essentially game turns where we've got a lot more figures moving around this map than I actually have in my collection. That might cause some difficulties later on down the road. Like, obviously you saw I've only got 7 cavalry. Well, if I give each of these guys 2 troops of 5, and they put them together, well, now they've got 10. I'm not entirely sure how we'll work that out. But we'll figure something out so that they have as much flexibility and as much freedom to design their own strategy as possible. We'll also have to figure out if the British are coming in from this side, what are our sight lines? How far can they see? What do they know? So there may be some opportunities for fog of war there, but this has been on my list of things to do ever since, I don't know, probably late last year when I read some Don Featherstone and the other guy. I'm drawing a blank now. Who's the other guy? It's this guy right here that I remembered later, and I put his name down. Well, that's embarrassing. Old man moment. Anyway, so that's what we can look forward to, and we'll do some videos, and I'll show you exactly how it works out. And as with Hintervale, this might blow up in my face. It might be unworkable. I might not know what I'm doing, but it'll be a lot of fun figuring that out and seeing what kind of fun we can have with it. The last thing I can show you is what I've been working on, and here you can see the oddball figures that I want to add to the collection. Once these get painted up, that's when we'll actually start the map-based campaign. And as mentioned, these are the first of the mounted commanders. So these are your overall onboard commanders, your majors, your lieutenant majors, and then if we want to take a look at some of these painted figures, I have a whole new unit of redcoats, and this is what I'm talking about, right? See the tricorn hat? There's just your standard rifleman. I got a banner holder, which I haven't had a lot of these guys, but I definitely wanted to pick some up because they have real game effects in Chosen Men. And then a little bit, he might be a leader, actually. Oh, no, this dashing fellow here. Look at him with his stovepipe. Isn't he a good-looking fella? So we do have some unit leaders that we're ready to throw down. And then these, so this is one of the challenges we Wargamers face. I painted him a year and a half ago, and I wanted to add a drummer and a banner carrier to the same unit. So these are the guys I painted this year, and I think I was able to match colors really well. I think you're not going to be able to tell that these guys were a year later. But I wanted to add, so to my existing Wars of the French Revolution, I wanted at least a drummer and a bannerman in the collection. And then I added some proper early Napoleonics. I got some stovepipe guys here, and then, of course, the drummer. In Chosen Men, if you have a drummer, you can change your formation basically for free anytime you move. And there's our leader with a big stick for whacking the guys who are reluctant. Blue on blue for these guys. These guys are classed as light infantry. They've got the green plumes. I don't know if this is a specific unit or not. I didn't worry too much about that. I just did a quick image search. He's got the fancy backpack ready to go. And then over here, we've got some foot dragoons. Now, the foot dragoons operate on a scale that's a little outside the realm of chosen men. So here's what they look like. And again, these are all AB miniatures. By the time the battle starts, they've already ridden to where they're going, and they've already dismounted. I don't have any mounted dragoons. All I have are the foot dragoons. So drummer, rifleman, leader, and that's what they look like. And I've only got, what I have, 8 of those guys. Yep. And the idea at the time was, well, I need to have at least 4. I need a leader and 4 riflemen. But I want to have, and likewise with these light infantry. Okay, so you can see I've got 7 of them. The way the game works is it assumes you've got a leader and 4 infantry. So this is the standard unit that you purchase here. Then for additional points, you can swap out a bannerman and a drummer boy. And these guys, of course, don't fight. So you just reduce the strength of your unit by 40% because they have their abilities mean they're not shooting guns. Well, when I play the game, I actually prefer to just add these 2. Same strength, but I add the points. So when I play Chosen Men, and I do add the points and kind of prorate it just to make it work. Then the last unit is going to be these guys. Again, I went ahead and bought a handful of proper early Napoleonics. So we have a leader there with his hand in the jacket, drummer, and then a bunch of, here we go. There's your shooty boys. He's biting his wad. And the drummer, I think he's really more American War of Independence. Again with the green plumes, just to add a little bit of different color so it's not all just red and yellow. Right? These guys are, hey, it's the McDonald's land of, it would, without the green, it would be the McDonald land of Napoleonics, right? Red and yellow, nothing but. That's it. That's what I've been doing. And then, like I said, I've got a couple of more, kind of a leader on foot. He's got the wavy sword he's waving around. How appropriate. A little bit tender. Got a question for you. Do you think it would be improper? I'm a little concerned about the length of this banner. When I put a flag on there, it'll stiffen it up. But how am I going to store this guy? If I were to clip this down by about a half an inch and then put a flag on it, would it look really stupid without the point? I don't know. I might do that just for practical effects. Yeah, it's not historical. Hey, there's my neighbor mowing the lawn. I guess that's a sign we're done. Till next time, I'm praying for you.